My name is Jennifer Robles, and I'm the advisor for teacher preparation and recruitment at Cal Poly Pomona. And during this presentation, we're going to talk about majors from the College of Education and Integrative Studies. That's the college that I represent, but also the pathway to teaching and kind of connecting it all together. So just a little look of what's our agenda for today. So we'll talk about the College of Education and Integrative Studies, who we are, the pathway to teaching, some recommended majors for future teachers. We'll focus on some SACE majors, which that's what we call the College of Education and Integrative Studies. It is a long name, so you'll hear me refer to it as SACE. And then applying to CPP, we'll talk a little bit about what you should need to know as you're getting ready to apply. So just a little bit about the College of Education and Integrative Studies. We're a community of students, teachers, and professionals who work together to grow knowledge, supporting learning across different subjects and focus on students' needs. And we care deeply about social justice, fairness, equal opportunities, and making a positive impact in our communities. This is an overview of all the programs under SACE. So we have our bachelor's degree programs, which we'll be talking a little bit about today, liberal studies and early childhood studies, the preliminary teaching credential programs, which you'll be hearing about also. And then you can go as far as getting your Master's of Arts in Education and your doctorate degree in the College of Education and Integrative Studies. So we won't be focusing on all of these programs today. We're going to take a deeper look at our bachelor's degree programs and definitely cover the teaching credential programs as well. So to kick off, let's talk a little bit about why we would consider or why you should consider a career in teaching. So you might have thought about this before, or maybe you're still figuring out if this is the career for you, but just wanted to highlight some of the reasons why you should consider a career in teaching. So first, I think one of the big things is you have a chance to make a big impact. So this is a chance to inspire the next generation, share your passion for a subject, and help students discover their own talents. It's an opportunity to promote equity and inclusion so you can support students from diverse backgrounds by creating a safe and inclusive learning environment. It's a way to give back to your community. So if you're looking to, build a strong relationship with your community and be a mentor within your community, teaching definitely gives you that opportunity. And if you're someone who really values creative expression, you definitely get to exercise that creativity in the classroom by designing engaging dynamic lessons that hopefully make learning fun and, make them interesting and understandable for students. And then, on a practical side of things, it really is a job where there's a lot of stability. There's opportunities for teaching nationwide, and there's a lot of excellent benefits that come along with being in the teaching profession. So overall, I think it's an opportunity to inspire, empower, and shape the future when you consider a career in teaching. So let's now talk a little bit about what that pathway to a career in teaching looks like. So here you'll see a roadmap, and it kind of highlights each stop along the way on that pathway to becoming a teacher. So first step is probably where a lot of you are at right now, and that's deciding what it is that you want to teach. And so a way that you can do this is by exploring some recommended majors for future teachers. So we'll be doing that today in this presentation. And then the first thing you need to become a teacher is your bachelor's degree. So as you're moving along this roadmap, you want to be headed towards the bachelor's degree program. A bachelor's degree, if attending full-time as a transfer student, that usually takes you about 2 years to complete. And then the next step on this pathway is earning your preliminary teaching credential. So after the bachelor's degree program, you must complete a preliminary teaching credential program to earn that credential. So with your bachelor's degree and your preliminary teaching credential, you are able to teach in California. And there's different types of credentials that you can pursue, and we'll talk about them today too, and it sort of depends on what you would like to teach or subject. So we'll get into those a little bit. At Cal Poly, if you're attending full time, typically credentials can be completed, or credential programs, I should say, can be completed in anywhere from 3 to 5 semesters. And then your final step is once you start working with your preliminary teaching credential, you're going to have 5 years to clear that credential. And you do that by completing an induction program. And this is usually offered through the district that you're working with, and you have support from a mentor veteran teacher. So, what is the teaching credential program? So the teaching credential program is typically completed after earning a bachelor's degree, so it's considered a post-baccalaureate program, and you must apply and be accepted into the credential program. And the credential program is a professional training program that helps develop the skills needed to work in a classroom. And the program is going to include hands-on teaching experience and courses on teaching methods, creating lesson plans, and managing a classroom. And the credential program prepares candidates to effectively teach K-12 students in a wide range of diverse settings in California. So overall, you are essentially learning how to teach your subject. One of the big requirements to get into the credential program is to demonstrate subject matter competency or, prove that you know the subject you're going to teach. Once you're in the credential program, you're now going to learn how to teach that subject. And then lastly, the credential program at Cal Poly is going to include 1 semester or 16 weeks of clinical practice, and that's where you do your student teaching. We will place you at a school site for your clinical practice hours, where you'll do your student teaching under the supervision of a master teacher. So going back to this little roadmap as our guide, we're going to be focusing on this first stop here on the roadmap, which is deciding what it is that you would like to teach. So there are 3 different credentials that you can pursue. One is a multiple subjects credential, and this is for those of you who are interested in teaching elementary school. And so it covers kindergarten through 8th grade, and you teach all subjects. So if you think back to elementary school, you had one teacher all day, she taught all subjects, she had a multiple subject teaching credential. If you're thinking you want to focus on a single subject in middle or high school, single subject credential will be the credential you would want to pursue. And so with a single subject credential, it only allows you to teach the subject that's named on your credential. And then last but not least, we have the education specialist credential, and you may know this as special education. And we have a couple paths that you can follow. You can do the mild moderate support needs path or the extensive support needs path. And the difference is really is the level of severity of the students that you'd be working with when you are in the classroom. So with that being said, now that you know about each of the credential programs, what should you major as a future teacher? So what are some of those recommended majors? Excuse me. So first I want to mention there's not a required major for teaching, but there's some recommendations based on what you would like to teach. There's also not a teaching or an education major at Cal Poly Pomona. So let's kind of break it down by credential here. So for those of you who are considering multiple subject and want to teach elementary school, our recommendations are our SACE majors, which are liberal studies and early childhood studies. And we'll be talking more about these majors in some upcoming slides. And then if you're someone thinking about single subject, you want to teach middle or high school, we recommend that you choose a major that aligns with the subject that you plan to teach. So if you want to teach math, major in math. If you want to teach English, major in English. So pretty straightforward there. And then with education specialists, there also isn't a special education degree. So our recommendations are the same. So if you're thinking you want to work with elementary students within a special education classroom, we recommend liberal studies or early childhood studies. If you're thinking you want to teach a single subject within a special ed classroom, we recommend you major in that subject you plan to teach. And then while we're talking about, what we want to teach and considering majors, I thought it might be a good time to talk about where there's actually some high need for teachers. So these are the areas in California where there's a higher need for teachers. So you'll see STEM, so math and science, that is a high need area. So if you have an interest in math and science, you feel confident in those subjects, that is the area where we need more teachers. Special education is also an area where we need more teachers. So if you have any interest or passion for working in the special ed class, there is a high need for you all. And then last but not least, the bilingual education. So there's something that you could add to a credential called the bilingual authorization, and it allows you to teach in those dual immersion classrooms. So if you're bilingual, we offer the bilingual authorization program at Cal Poly for Spanish, Mandarin, and Tagalog. And so it allows you to teach your content in both English and another language. Um, so definitely something to consider if you're still undecided about what you would like to teach. These are some areas that are in demand and will be good for job outlook will be good when you are looking for a job. All right, so I touched on this just a tiny bit earlier when we were talking about what the credential program is, but we're going to connect a big admissions requirement to get into the teaching credential program with choosing your major. So subject matter competency and choosing your major. So as I mentioned, this is an admissions requirement for getting into the teaching credential program, which you might feel like, wow, we're talking about this already. I haven't even transferred yet, but it's not too early to think about this because it connects with your major. So what is subject matter competency? It means that future teachers in California, they need to prove that they know or they're proficient in the subject that they plan to teach. And like I said, this is an admissions requirement for the credential program. And there's actually a variety of ways to meet this requirement. However, one of those ways is by earning a degree in the subject you plan to teach. So that's why I'm now connecting it with our conversations about majors and what you should major for as a future teacher. So there's other options on here too, as you can see, like taking an exam called the CSET, subject matter preparation programs, which are like coursework plans that you can follow. Sometimes there's course lists and CSET options you can follow, but the main way that students are meeting this requirement is now with their degree, but it takes kind of planning ahead and knowing what it is that you would like to teach. So with that being said, oh, hold on. I thought I had I'm circling it here. So basically, in order for you to use your degree, it has to match the subject that you plan to teach. So if you want to teach English, like I was saying earlier, major in English. You want to teach Spanish, major in Spanish. You might be wondering, I just said there's no elementary or education major. So what if I want to teach multiple subjects? So California has approved the liberal studies degree to meet this requirement. And so that's why it's one of the recommended majors for future multiple subject students. You'll automatically meet subject matter competency, and you won't have to take that CSET exam. So there's a link on here. I'll be sharing the slides with you all, but I've included a link here. It actually takes you to a chart that's been created by the CTC, and it has a list of all the approved majors to meet subject matter competency, and it does it by subject. So it tells you which degrees are actually approved, and it also tells you what degrees are not approved to meet subject matter competency. So definitely check that out as you're considering your major and thinking about what you want to teach. Again, there's not a required major, but majoring in the subject you plan to teach is going to help you to meet this big requirement later on so that you don't have to take the CSET to do that. So let's pause here for some questions and thoughts. I think I saw one come in here. Does anyone have any questions? You can either put it in the chat or unmute yourself.
Hi, Jennifer. I have a question.
Sure.
My name is Liliana. I am one of the counselors at Rio Hondo, and I work with EOPS care students. So I I logged in a little bit late, but kind of just to summarize what you mentioned is if a student is interested in teaching, liberal arts would be a safe option if they're considering multi-subject credential.
Correct. That's the only major, well, liberal studies, elementary education, but there really isn't any school that offers an elementary education bachelor's degree. That's what California has approved to meet subject matter competency for multiple subject.
Gotcha. And then I also heard you say now if they already know what subject they want to teach in, it would be wise for us to suggest getting their degree in that particular subject so that they can then apply for that specific credential at the 4 year.
Yeah, so that they won't have to take the CSET exam. So basically, the state, it's somewhat recent because up until a few years ago, everyone had to take the CSET to prove they know their subject and meet subject matter competency. But now the state has decided that if you earn a degree in that subject, that's how you're proving to us that you know the subject you want to teach. But it has to be one of their approved majors. So on that previous slide, the link, there's actually a chart that the CTC has created to show approved majors by subject.
Gotcha. And when you get a chance, do you mind dropping that link in the chat? You might have already, and I might have just logged in a little
I
bit late.
haven't, but let me stop sharing for just a second so that I can, because I have it saved, because that question comes up a lot.
When you get a
Um,
chance. Thank
let
you.
me let me just put it in the chat right now. All right, so that link to see the approved majors by subject is going into the chat right now. All right. All right, so picking up, uh, can you all see my screen again?
Yes.
Okay, perfect, thank you. All right, so with that being said, I mentioned earlier, I'm from the College of Education Integrative Studies, or SACE, and two of those recommended majors that we have on the slides for multiple subject and even special ed are under our college. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about them today. So first we have our early childhood studies degree, and this program focuses on how kids grow and learn from birth to age 8. Students learn how to teach young children in schools and childcare programs, and it teaches respect for children from different cultures, languages, and families. And students learn how to support all kids, including those with special needs. So students learn fun and effective ways to help kids stay engaged and excited about learning. So there's a couple pathways to follow in the SACE, the ECS major or early childhood studies. We have our early childhood teaching. And so with this one, it focuses on you learning skills and knowledge to work with kids birth through age 8. We have a multilingual teaching pathway, which is a program that is geared to helping you specialize in a language so that you can become a dual language educator. So earlier we talked about how there is a need for bilingual educators. So this might be something you pursue if you're thinking about getting that bilingual authorization later on when you're in the credential program. And for those of you who are maybe thinking, I want to work with children, but I'm not sure if I want to work with children in a teaching setting. Oops. We also have a non-teaching pathway too. And so this provides students with the competencies for you to work with young children and families in diverse contexts. So like social work or school psychology or counseling. So for those of you who are maybe on the fence, this is still an option for you if you are thinking about working with kids, but maybe not in the classroom format. I've included a QR code on some of the slides because it'll take you over to our website where you can find a lot more information about the program and the coursework and things like that. So I invite you to check those out later so that you can learn more about them. And also as a side note, it's really good to do your research ahead of time as transfer students because when you submit that application to apply to the university, they're going to ask you to choose a major. Now, it's not going to be set in stone. You can change it if you need to, but it's good to kind of know from the start you're choosing the major that's kind of lining up with this pathway of you wanting to become a teacher and aligns with your goals. So definitely do your research on these majors so that you can figure out if it's a good fit for you. Um, we are a polytechnic school. I haven't talked about that too much, but we really place value on students getting the opportunity to learn both inside and outside of the classroom. Our new motto is learn by becoming. So, all ECS or early childhood students, they'll participate in a practicum course that allows you to work with young children and families in an early learning care setting. And you do 60 hours of practicum for this major. And you can see here some of the practicum locations that we've had students work at before. And then our other ECS bachelor's degree program is liberal studies. And so with this major, you'll do classes, activities, and hands-on projects that explore subjects like art and history, science, and more to learn or to better understand people, communities, and the world around them. So it is an interdisciplinary major. And students study both the arts and sciences to build a strong foundation for any career. Learn how to solve real world problems that matter today, think critically, and come up with creative ideas, understand and support fairness, ethics, and caring for the planet, and explore different cultures and ways of life to build better relationships with others. So for liberal studies, we have a pre-credential teaching pathway and a general studies pathway. This pre-credential teaching pathway is great for our future multiple subject teachers or even our ed specialist teachers. But this pathway develops subject matter knowledge or subject matter competency for future elementary school teachers. So you are taking courses that are setting you up to be prepared to teach those subjects when you're in the credential program. And as I mentioned earlier, this pathway, doing the liberal studies degree, guarantees that you will not have to take the multiple subjects you set to meet subject matter competency. And then we also have general studies. So again, if maybe you're interested in liberal studies, but you would like to focus on other disciplines or multiple disciplines, we have our general studies option where it kind of has this flexible pathway where you can, learn more about art or math or sociology. So again, I've included a QR code here that'll take you to the website where you can see a lot more about this major, the different pathways, the courses, to help you decide if this is a good fit for you. And just like, oh, and I'm highlighting again that you don't have to take the CSET for multiple subject with this one. Oh, there we go. And then also, you'll have opportunities to do some service learning with this major as well. So these experiences help students to learn more about their community they will be teaching in. So you'll notice they're not all necessarily classroom experiences, but opportunities to work in the community that maybe you might be teaching in someday, and that is also valuable experience as you're making your way to the teaching credential program. So some of the things they've done before is tutoring at the Pomona Library, volunteering at the food bank, participating in community cultural events, and collaborating with elementary schools for science education. We have our Student Success Center on campus too that supports our SACE students. And so you will definitely have a community here with our college. We have a little space that you can come in to actually study and relax in between classes. Our advisors are located, their offices are right outside the Success Center. So you will definitely have support and guidance through our SACE advisors from the Success Center. So if you'd like to learn a little bit more again about our advisors and the Success Center, I've included a QR code here for you to take a look at as well. And then I want to pause again here for any questions or thoughts that you might have. All right, I don't see anything coming in. Well, we should have some time at the end for questions too. So feel free to wait until the end too if you have anything you want to ask. All right, so let's move on here. So just to tell you a little bit more about Cal Poly and how you can get involved in campus as a future teacher. I wanted to share with you we have a program called Teacher Academy, and this is open to all high school and Cal Poly Pomona students interested in a career in education. And so, Teacher Academy students, they get to participate in in-person and virtual sessions geared toward helping them prepare for a career in education. You can earn a digital badge by attending these sessions. And if you're interested in learning more, you can visit our website here or the QR code. Our coordinator, Paul Knopf, he does campus tours too. So if you're interested in visiting our campus to see what it's like, this is a great way to start building your community, learning about the campus and meeting other fellow future teachers, but also just getting some great professional development too. At Cal Poly Pomona, there's over 300 official clubs and organizations, but we have a few specifically for our SACE students. So we have our Liberal Studies Club and our Early Childhood Studies Club and SACE Council. So this is a really good way to get involved, meet people, gain some additional knowledge because they'll have probably informational meetings too during these sessions, but there's usually some community service involved. It's an opportunity to, get some leadership experience. So I would definitely encourage you to, build your community by joining a student org if you come to Cal Poly Pomona. And then a little more about us, why Cal Poly Pomona? So again, we're a polytechnic college. You get to learn by becoming. So we really place focus on hands-on courses and projects that give you the opportunity to learn inside and outside the classroom. So these hands-on opportunities can look like internship opportunities, field work or practicum, service learning or study abroad. So these activities really help build critical thinking and problem solving skills that help lead to career readiness. So if you want to learn a little bit more about what it means to attend a polytechnic school and what sets us apart from the other CSUs, I'd encourage you to check out our website. But yeah, this is a little bit about what our Polytechnic College is all about. And we'll wrap up with just a little bit about applying to Cal Poly Pomona. So as you're preparing to apply, I just want to highlight a great resource that we have on our website where you can find a lot of information that will help you apply to the program. So if you go to our website, right on the homepage, there's going to be a section at the top that says apply. And when you click on that, it's going to take you over to applicant resources. And there's a lot of helpful things on there, such as requirements, a checklist, frequently asked questions, a variety of things. There's a section for transfer students as well on there. I've included the QR code here for you. The link to Cal State Apply is there. Admissions requirements are here specifically for transfer students. So you can see that all transfer students must be in good academic standing with the last institutions they've attended, have a minimum 2.0 GPA and transferable coursework. You also must have a minimum of 60 transferable semester units. Your Golden Four must be complete. Fall applicants must have their requirements completed by the end of the spring term, and spring applicants must have their requirements completed by the end of summer term. So again, QR code is here so that you can take a deeper dive into some of these. Definitely use your transfer center as a resource. That's what they're there for, especially as we get close to our application window. So October 1st, the fall application is going to open up. So if any of you are ready to transfer, definitely start looking at these resources in preparation for applying. So lastly, I'm here to help. So early knowledge of teacher preparation requirements, how to apply is key. So please reach out to me if you're interested in learning more about this pathway. I have included my email and my phone number here. So if you have any questions, please feel free to let me know. And then I know we covered a lot today. It's a lot to become a teacher. There's a lot of options, different pathways. So I just wanted to check in. Maybe you can let me know how you're feeling in the chat. I have this cute little cat chart to help us with that. All right. Does anyone have any questions? Yes, it's a lot to go over.